Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something truly unexpected. A highly anticipated study out of the University of Reading is suggesting a fundamentally new way to treat chronic pain. We're talking about a completely novel pathway to relief here, using something you might associate more with, counterculture than clinical medicine. It's a really fascinating look into the future of neuroscience, so let's get right into it.
Okay, I want you to imagine, just for a second, living with a constant, radiating, burning sensation that you literally cannot escape. We aren't talking about a temporary ache. This is severe nerve damage. And for millions of people around the world, this is just their everyday reality. But honestly, the most terrifying part isn't even the pain itself. It's this deeply unsettling question. What happens when your pain medication just stops working? Where do you turn when the very things prescribed to help you suddenly leave you totally stranded in agony?
Section 1. The limits of current treatments. To understand why this new research is such a game changer, we kind of have to take a hard look at the grim reality of our standard go-to treatments. Let's look at gabapentin. It's one of the most widely prescribed drugs for nerve pain on the planet. But get this, between 30 and 50% of people with nerve pain don't get adequate relief from gabapentin alone. Think about that failure rate for a second. We are talking about nearly half of all patients taking this medication and still suffering. Plus, the medicines we do have can cause some incredibly serious side effects or even trigger devastating cycles of addiction. We're essentially relying on a seriously flawed toolkit, and patients are the ones paying the price. Section 2. The magic mushroom breakthrough. So recently, a beacon of hope actually popped up from a completely unexpected place. A newly published study in the prestigious journal Communications Biology revealed a totally unexpected hero: psilocybin. Yep, the active compound found in magic mushrooms. Now, to be clear, this isn't recreational. This is highly controlled precision science from researchers at the University of Reading. They tested a single dose of psilocybin, injecting it into mice suffering from nerve damage. And the results? Absolutely astounding. The pain-relieving effects kicked in after just about 2 hours. But here is the real kicker. That relief didn't just fade away after a few hours. No way. It actually lasted for several weeks from just one single injection. Section 3. Rewiring the brain's networks. Now, obviously, an effect lasting weeks from just one dose? That is not how standard painkillers work. So how exactly does this remarkable compound interact with our biology to pull that off? Well, the old way, our current standard of care, is basically a temporary roadblock. Standard drugs just block the pain signals while the drug is actively floating around in your system. Once it wears off, the pain comes roaring right back. But the psilocybin way is entirely different. Think of it like a massive software update for your brain. Actually, scratch that. It's more like it restructures the brain's hardware. It physically changes how the pain processing networks operate. This structural change is exactly why the relief persists for weeks, long after the physical drug itself has completely left the body. It isn't just masking the pain, it's changing how the body perceives it. Section 4. Supercharging existing painkillers. This is where we get to what the researchers actually called the most significant finding of the entire study. They wanted to see what would happen if they gave mice that standard drug, gabapentin, weeks after a single psilocybin dose, specifically after the psilocybin's own pain relief had totally worn off. And the result? The gabapentin suddenly produced pain relief lasting up to 4 straight days. Let me just repeat that. 4 days of relief from a standard medication. When they tested gabapentin in mice that had never received the psilocybin beforehand, the effect was much weaker. Basically, the psilocybin completely supercharged the standard painkiller. Section 5. Inclusive and ethical science. Real quick, before we look at what this means for human patients, it's definitely worth noting how this study was conducted. The pain-relieving effect was confirmed in both male and female mice. And why does that matter? Well, historically, a ton of early pain research was conducted almost exclusively on male animals, which meant our whole understanding of pain basically ignored half the population. By confirming these effects across both sexes, the University of Reading team made sure this data is actually reliable and widely applicable. On top of that, the researchers were incredibly strict about following UK Home Office regulations and the 3 R's principles: replacement, reduction, and refinement. They carefully designed their procedures to minimize any distress using a really small number of mice. Whenever possible, they even measured multiple different outcomes from the exact same animals, just to keep those numbers down. It's honestly a great example of doing really necessary biological research with a super high standard of care. Section 6. A transformative future.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got a compound that relieves pain for weeks, physically restructures brain networks, supercharges standard medications, and is proven effective across sexes. This brings us to a really powerful quote from Dr. Maria Mayeru, the senior author of the study. She says, "It appears to reset the brain's pain networks in a way that makes existing treatments significantly more effective. For patients who have run out of options, that could be genuinely transformative. And that just perfectly nails the brain reset mechanism. We aren't just talking about popping a new pill. We're talking about giving millions of people who have been told there's literally nothing else we can do, a second chance at a pain-free life."
Which leaves us with a pretty thrilling question to wrap up on. Could a psychedelic reset truly be the future of pain relief? As we've seen today, the potential to fundamentally restructure our own pain networks and make the medicines we already have work dramatically better, that isn't just science fiction anymore. It's happening right now in the lab. It challenges pretty much everything we thought we knew about pharmacology in the brain. I absolutely encourage you to keep an eye on this space, because trust me, this is just the beginning. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this explainer today.